Diligence, giving my whole self to accomplish a task. Okay, so this week, where I believe God is sending us, you guys are, every one of us, from the youngest to the oldest, we're going to have to work very diligently to put into practice what he's going to teach us today, okay? All of us. All of us. It's for all of us.
Yeah, we gotta go. I got a puppy home.
I'm sleepy.
No? I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Gonna have to be diligent. Okay. Don't worry that, just because it comes out of my mouth, again, it's not coming from me. And I have to listen to it again when I edit it because I have to hear it too. Okay? I know that seems kind of wild, but that's true. That's true. Okay. What I want to talk about is a word. I want to give you a new word and it's not really a character trait, and yet the essence of your character is so wrapped up into what I'm going to share with you guys today. Okay? And it's not just for you, it's for all of y'all too. It's wrapped up in who you are. It's part of your core being. And it must be a conscious decision that you make and eventually gets to your heart. And it needs to be a part of your everyday life. It's called forgiveness.
I was just thinking that.
It's called forgiveness. I don't have a working definition for it yet. You know how all of the other ones I have definition, right? I don't have a working definition for forgiveness yet. Maybe we can all work on it. I have a feeling we're going to be on this topic for a while. He's given me enough material, we could be here for months. Okay? Forgiveness. Typically we think somebody did us wrong, and so they did something wrong, and they need to apologize. That's not your problem. What? But they did something to me. Doesn't matter. Your problem is your problem. Don't worry, I'm not talking just to you. You have to give, you're commanded to give forgiveness. Doesn't matter if they apologize. Doesn't matter if they recognize it. Doesn't matter if they're angry. Doesn't matter if they're right or they're wrong. You're commanded to forgive. Ouch. So let's talk about a couple examples. One is in Genesis, chapter 4, right at the very beginning. There was a guy named Cain, because his mother named him Cain because she acquired a man from Adonai. And in addition, she gave birth to his brother Hevel, or Abel. Abel kept sheep, while Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to Adonai from the produce of the soil. And Abel, he brought one from the firstborn of his sheep, including their fat. Adonai accepted Abel and his offering. Okay, so let me ask you a question. See, right from the get-go, they already knew what the offering was. If we go back a couple chapters, God made the first sacrifice of animals so that they would have skin for clothing, and the fat of the animal. They knew exactly what an offering for sin was because God explained it to him. He showed it to him. So they knew what they were supposed to do. Okay? We also know we can give first fruits. But if you notice, Cain, he brought some of his produce. He didn't bring the best, and he didn't bring the first fruits. Abel brought the first and the fat. So, which offering is God going to accept, Cain's or Abel's? Do you know? Abel's. Because why? Because Abel did it God's way. Cain did it his way. Nothing's changed. All the way to Revelation, nothing's changed. If you read Revelation, and still they would not turn from their ways. So Cain was angry at Abel. Why is he angry at Abel? What did Abel do to him? Abel didn't do anything to him, did he? No. So, see, it wasn't anything that Abel did to him. But God favored Abel. Well, that's because he did it right. What is that to you, Cain? And Cain was so angry and so jealous that he killed his brother. And his brother didn't even do anything to him. We can pick up a grudge and an offense that is not ours. Cain was really mad at God, but he took it out on his brother and directed it there. He had no right to be mad at God either. God told him what to do. He knew what to do. He should have been angry at himself. Okay. Let's go to another one. Gee, moving right along. How about Joseph? His brothers were, there's that word, jealousy again. His brothers were jealous too. But you know, more than just his brothers being jealous of his dreams and his things, Father favored him. I wonder why Father favored. Well, maybe because he had integrity. I mean, we know that Joseph's life, when he gets sold into slavery, he obviously had good integrity. He obviously had good character. And so the Father favored that and rewarded it. I was always troubled by, why did you show favoritism? Maybe that wasn't it at all. Maybe it was because this child is doing it right. That's because this child has good character. That's because this child is telling the truth. That's because we know Joseph tells truth. So instead of being mad at the father, they take it out on the brother. But in a roundabout way, they hurt the father too, don't they? Yeah. But what does Joseph do? You know, if you only read part of the story, when they come and he puts one in jail and then he sends them away and then he puts stuff and then he accuses them of something, you think, oh, boy, he's very vengeful. No. It's kind of like Jesus with Peter. When Peter denies him 3 times, Jesus then gives him 3 opportunities to repent. Joseph was letting them recount their sin and saying, we deserve what we're getting. And then he gave grace and mercy. He was going to provide for them. He was always going to provide for them. He was always going to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. Wow. Okay, let's talk about another one. This one's in Matthew 18, 21. Then Peter came up and he said to him, Rabbi, he's talking to Jesus, right, Yeshua? How often can my brother sin against me and I have to forgive him? As many as 7 times? I only have to forgive him 7 times, right? And then after that, I can deck him. Or give him a piece of my mind. Or tattle on him. No, not 7 times, answered Yeshua, but 70 times 7. See, it has nothing to, don't try to times 70 times 7. It's a number of perfection. In other words, just keep doing it. 7, just keep doing it. Over and over, don't count. Okay? Okay. Because of this, the kingdom of heaven may be compared with a king who decided to settle accounts with his deputies. Right away, they brought forward a man who owed him millions of dollars, but he couldn't pay it. And so the master ordered that he and his wife and his children and all his possessions be sold to pay the debt. They're all going to be sold. Oh my goodness. What do you think the servant does? I think he lays prostrate before him on the floor and he begs him, please forgive me, right? Let's see. Is that what he said? Oh, but the servant fell down before him. Be patient with me, he begged. I will pay you back everything. There was no way he was going to be able to pay back everything. So out of pity for him, the master let him go and forgave his debt. Wow. And then he walks out and he sees this guy who owes him just a couple bucks. And he says, pay up. And the guy says, I can't. Put him in jail. What happened? Well, you owe me money. A couple bucks. He was just forgiven millions. That's not forgiveness. No, that's greed. So, yourself can get in the way, right? He wanted what he wanted his money. He was going to get ahead. He was forgiven everything. He's got a clean slate. Oh, I can get ahead. No, you owe me. Wow. See, that's us. Okay? We owe millions. We can never, ever, ever repay God for what he's done for us. So if somebody else comes along and they owe you a little bit, there's no comparison. Okay? No comparison. So we need to forgive, right? Let's go to Ephesians. Chapter 4. Starting verse 31. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, violent assertiveness, and slander, along with all spitefulness. Well, how come she got that? I didn't get it. Well, how come you gave that to him? Well, he did this yesterday. Well, I don't know about that. Uh-oh. Does that sound like... Don't think you kids do it. We adults do it too. Well, now, God, I've done this and this and this for you. How come they have this and I have...
Jack squat.
Jack squat's a good word. Attitude. Gratitude is an attitude. It's all in your perspective. And how are you looking at things through Scripture and God's purview, or are you looking at it through your selfish? See, here's why we have unforgiveness of our selfishness. That's the bottom line. If you're jealous, it's because you're looking at yourself. Well, I should have that. Or how come I didn't get that? Or how come you favored this one? Or how... That's jealousy is focusing on myself, not God. The one who didn't forgive the few dollars was out of greed. Again, mine. Me, 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 me. That's mine. I did that. No, God allowed you to do that. God enabled you to do that. Maybe he directed you to do that. Now you regret it. That's self. That's yourself. So, both offense and unforgiveness come from self. But God, you don't know what he did. Really? I don't know what he did to you? You don't know what she did. Really? I think he does. You know, maybe he allowed it to teach you something. Uh-oh. Okay. So if somebody genuinely does something wrong to you, now I'm talking to you guys. If somebody genuinely does something wrong, you have to forgive them and treat them as though it never happened. That's what you're commanded to do. Sometimes that's a little hard, huh? So you have to look at self. Okay? That's forgiveness. It's clearing the record. It's wiping the chalkboard clean or the whiteboard clean, right? For anybody who has wronged me. And allowing God's love to flow out of me to them. Okay? Sometimes that's hard. But that love will win somebody over more than hatefulness and jealousy. And
Most of the time that's hard.
Okay, well, we're getting really real here. All right. So this is going to be one of those topics, forgiveness, that we're going to come back to again, okay? All right. Start the Sermon on the Mount, what we call the Sermon on the Mount, okay? It was this one big sermon. I mean, it's really the only sermon we have that he taught, that we actually have the whole, teaching. So, and I've got stuff for you on that, okay? Forgiveness we will come back to again and again and again. But while you're over there, you're not necessarily going to pay attention with your eyes, right? But you're going to pay attention with your what?
Ears.
And your, okay, which is this thing right here, right? Okay, all right. Isn't that a beautiful, that's the Sea of Galilee. Those are those gorgeous flowers. The red ones only bloom in typically the month of February.
Yeah, it
They're-
looks like a poppy.
Yeah, they're beautiful. You guys can see it, right? Okay, so you guys look over here real fast. I want to show you a picture. You ready? You see all these gorgeous flowers? Aren't they beautiful? They are, huh? You know what? You can be harboring unforgiveness in your life and still look like you're good. And you can still look like you're okay. But there's this nasty thing down here called the root. And it's bigger than the flower, and it invades your whole body. Or there's this one called the taproot over here, and it goes way down deep. Have you ever picked a dandelion and snapped it off and it grows back? Because the root's still there. That's like unforgiveness. If you don't take care of the root problem, unforgiveness, it'll invade your whole body. It can even make you sick. You know what else it'll do is it'll stop your prayers from going to God. We'll come back to that one, okay? All right. Because there's some of us over here that need it too. All right. See? Oh, there's that beautiful dandelion, but if you snap it off, even if you take off all the green and all the leaves, it's going to grow back. And it may look okay on the surface, but that root will get bigger and deeper. Okay? And it'll become something it shouldn't.
Root of bitterness.
Root of bitterness, that's right. If you have unforgiveness, it becomes a root of bitterness. Okay? And it oozes out of you. All right? Okay. Matthew chapter 5. Seeing the crowds, Yeshua walked up the hill, and after he sat down, his Talmudim came to him, his disciples, and he began to speak. Was he speaking just to his disciples? No. I don't think so. But they were right there, right? How blessed are the poor in spirit. Poor in spirit. Humble? Contrite. Doesn't the Psalms talk about a contrite spirit? That's what he's talking about. Okay? He's not talking about poor, because if you read Luke has the story, but it says, blessed are the poor. It doesn't mean material poor. It means in your spirit. Okay? It means your spirit man. Okay? Contrite. For the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Well, doesn't that make you want to be humble and poor of spirit and contrite? I would think it would. How blessed are those who mourn. That is, those who express grief or great sorrow, right? Have you ever mourned? I think all of us adults probably have mourned once or twice, or 3 or 4, or more
10 or
times.
20.
10 to 100.
Yeah.
Mourning, no person mourns the same way. No two people mourn the same way, and no person mourns the same way twice or over the same thing. You can mourn the loss of possessions. You can mourn the loss of people. You can mourn the loss of an animal. There's a lot of different things to mourn, okay? I think what we need to mourn over are living people who are dead. That's what we need to mourn over. We need to do it while they're alive, and their bodies are alive, but their spirits are dead. We need to mourn over them. We need to lay before God and mourn over them. Blessed are those who mourn. Not when I'm, not mourning a father or a husband or a beloved pet. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted, strengthened, invigorated. Relief from pain, relief from distress of mind. Maybe you're mourning over sins. Maybe you're mourning over your own sin. That's part of the contrite heart, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different things reasons that we would mourn. But he will comfort. And yes, he will comfort all of them, even the physical ones, even the loss of how about Job? Mm-hmm. Okay? You don't think he was mourning? Mm-hmm. It was in sackcloth and ashes. I think he was. Did he have bitterness of soul? Different kind of bitterness, not unforgiveness bitterness, but pain bitter. Okay? Anguish. They will be comforted. So he will give us physical comfort. How blessed are the meek. Meek is not weak, right? A meek person is not, matter of fact, a meek person is probably stronger. Well, my father. Mm-hmm. My father was a very meek man.
Make me strong.
My father was extremely strong. My father could take down 2 grown men. He was small. He was small in stature. I don't think he was 5'4". I mean, he said he was 5'5". I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that to be true, but he was of short stature, but he could take down 2 grown men single-handedly for the right reason, righteous anger. If they were harming someone, if they were harming a child or an elderly woman, I watched him do it because of an elderly woman. You have to be a very strong individual to be meek, because it's strength under control. That's what meekness is. It's not being a doormat, and it's not. It's knowing the right time. It's having you've got to have wisdom there too, okay? But it's strength under control. You might have the ability to do something, but you don't do it because that's not what's called for. That's being meek, okay? That plays right into the forgiveness and to love your enemies. You got to be strong to do that. But it's not by my strength. It's not by my strength, not by my might, not by my power, but by what? The Holy Spirit. Oh. For they will inherit the land. This means Eretz Israel. He's talking to Israel here, okay? He's not talking to the world. Whenever you're reading scripture, you're grafted in. So he's talking to believers at this point, okay? Well, not at this point. He's talking to Israel. But the word is talking to us, okay? Those grafted in. It's not talking to the world. It's not talking to people who don't believe in God. Mm-hmm. So he's talking to people who do believe in God, but they're not necessarily behave like Cain. They're doing it their way, okay? They're doing it their way, okay? How blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Oh, there's meek. Look at that. Mild of temper, soft, gentle, not easily provoked or irritated. I don't see strength in there, but I know you have to be strong to do it, right? It says mild of temper. You can only be mild of temper if you've got it under control. That's strength. Okay? Not easily provoked or irritated. Again, strength. Okay? Because any fool can go off. Yes, I said that word. And anybody can go off. Anybody can spew. Anybody can get angry. It takes a very strong individual to bite their tongue and swallow the blood. My saying. Okay? That's a meek person.
Don't have a heart that's easily offended.
Yeah.
And patience.
Yeah.
You're good at meek.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aunt Linda, you are.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, if you're self-centered, you're not meek.
That's true.
Okay? If you're about self, I don't care. Mm-hmm. Well, it makes me happy. You're not meek. I'm telling you right now. Mm-hmm. There's nothing meek about you. I don't care if you sell everything and give it all away. There's nothing meek about you. How blessed are those who show mercy, for they shall be shown mercy. Mercy is giving something that's not warranted, right? Again, strength. Maybe I'm going to plow you right in the kisser. Oh, yeah. Would I be warranted? In human eyes, sure. They're being a jerk. Pow 'em. Grace and mercy says, you deserve it, but I'm not going to give it to you. Hey, God, get out of the way. You do what you're supposed to. See, here comes that jealousy thing again. But you see what they... yeah, he does, doesn't he? He sees it. See, you guys thought I was just talking to you earlier, huh? Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think that's our natural desire for vindication.
Ooh, there is that word. Yeah. I want what I want. I want it
I'm
my
good.
way. When I want it, how I want it. Hang everybody and everything else.
You have
That's
to
not
justify.
Christ-like.
It's our natural instinct to justify why we get angry.
It's our natural
Or-
human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's,
But it can become just as natural and second nature to do it his way.
that's right. fruit of
Okay?
the Spirit.
So who's winning? The spirit or the flesh?
Yeah.
It's a war. It's a war between the spirit and the flesh. Okay? It's a war between the
Always.
spirit and the flesh. You know, if I wanted my children to learn obedience, I had to be submissive. But he, you know what kind of a jerky? That's not my problem. This is my problem.
Yeah, see, I was always submissive with my mouth, but not so much my heart.
Then you weren't submissive.
No, I know. And so God had to really
Yeah.
teach me.
But it has to
And
start
do
with
it.
the right action. Okay?
Yeah.
So hear me. If your heart isn't there and your mind says, and I could think of a few things I could say, ain't no way. Still do the right thing. And then pray that your mind chooses and eventually your heart.
Yeah, eventually it enters the heart.
Okay?
It's a
I-
choice.
I had to pray. I cannot tell you how many times I prayed, God, help me love this man. God, help me love this man. Okay? What he does
Doesn't matter.
does not dictate whether I obey or not, and whether I do what I'm commanded to do or not. Same thing with children. Whether your mom and dad are right or not right is not your problem. That's God's problem. And trust me, if they hurt you, they're going to pay. Because their angels stand before him. Closer than yours. Oops. Okay. Phew. How far are we? Okay. Blessed are the pure in heart. For they will see God. Pure in heart. Oh, and that, see, what you said was perfectly. I might have done it outwardly, but my heart wasn't pure. My heart wasn't there. See, and here's the thing. God knows whether you're all in or not. Is he going to reward your action? Yes. If your heart motivation is, I'm gonna do this because you said so, and so I'm going to obey. Help me to get the right attitude. Help my heart to follow. I'm doing it because you told me to do it. I don't like it, but I'm going to do it. Okay. The heart motivation is still, I want to change. Now, if you're doing it, I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to like it, and I'm never going to change. No, he's not going to reward that. Flat out. You see, it's the condition of the heart.
Yeah.
It's the motivation of the heart. It's all about the heart. Not this one. Not the one that beats. This one. Right here. It's all about the heart. This is your seat of emotion. Right here. For they will
That's
see
really
God.
how blessed are those who have a pure mind.
But we say heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. We say heart.
That's
Because the hearts are the thoughts. And we associate that but you know what? I think it's a good thing because we need to line our emotions need to be controlled up here.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's a good thing he says heart because it's not emotion. We should not be walking by our emotions. That's self.
They train well, and they change.
Mhm.
Your emotion
that's
can
self.
change every 10
Second.
minutes. Yeah.
That's
You
self.
know?
That's self. And so every time I find myself, I when I'm hit with something, that's literally what I do. Change my heart. What do you want me to do? Okay. Are we good? Okay, we're good. Keep going. Someone wants okay. Agree with them. If you're wrong, agree with them. Take the right out of it.
Mhm.
They're coming out of fight? Not today. Don't engage. It's all here. Your choice. Your choice how you respond. Your choice how you behave. It's your choice, your character. Do you want to be like him, spirit-led, or flesh? Okay. How blessed are those who make peace. Boy, that goes right there with the pure heart now, doesn't it? For they will be called B'nai Elohim, sons of God, children of God. We're his children, right? If we obey him, if our hearts are right. A lot of people say they are, but their hearts are far from him. They're doing it their own way, and you can tell. It's so easy to spot. I'm telling you, the closer you get to him, the easier it is to discern. It really is.
Sure.
The closer you get to him, the easier it is to discern motives. Because he reveals them. Not because you do it. Nothing I do. He reveals it. He shows you. Okay? So get close to him. How blessed are those who make peace, for they will be called the sons of God. How blessed are those who are persecuted. What? What does that mean? So, because you're pursuing righteousness. If you're pursuing your own righteousness, the right things to do, no, his righteousness, right? Conformity, oh, here it is. Conformity of heart and life to the divine law. Nearly equivalent to holiness. What? Why? Because, see, our mind of holiness is like, kadosh, set apart. Okay, so it's nearly equivalent to being set apart. Comprehending holy principles and affections of heart and conformity of the life to what? The divine law. Oh, Revelation talks about the lawless, right? And lawlessness will abound. It's not talking about worldly laws. It's not talking about the laws of the nations. It's not talking about the laws of the world. It's not talking about the laws of the lands. It's talking about his law. It's true religion. Righteousness is, in short, it's true religion. Why? Because your heart is conformed and your life is conformed to divine law. That's, blessed are those who are persecuted because they pursue righteousness. Because you're pursuing a holy life. Because you're pursuing the conformity of your heart to be conformed to his law. Your life to be conformed to his law. Okay? Then, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Right? Why? Because you're pursuing. You're pursuing. Okay. How blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and tell all kinds of vicious lies about you because you follow me. That can take on anything. You're following him. There can be something completely, quote unquote, unrelated to what you think is, biblical or say, because you're living this, it's going to come at you in different areas, in different ways. Okay? It is. And then what does it say? Rejoice! What? Are you kidding me? Be glad. Seriously? But he says, rejoice, be glad, because your reward in heaven is great. They persecuted the prophets before you in the same way. Okay, now we're getting into some heavy things. Some of those prophets were murdered in pretty grotesque ways because they pursued righteousness. Count the cost. There is a cost. There is a cost. Okay. Let me go back to peace. How blessed are those who make peace. Peace here is the meaning of the word that you're looking at here is a state of quiet or tranquility. In other words, not easily, didn't you say? Not easily offended. Your mind can be quiet. Okay? Freedom from agitation or disturbance by the passions. Doesn't mean you don't necessarily, okay? Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's okay, I recognize it. But my passions aren't going to be disturbed. I'm not going to respond in kind. Freedom from agitation or disturbance by the passions as from fear, terror, anger, anxiety, or the like. Quietness of mind, tranquility, calmness, quiet of conscience. Are we good? Okay. No explosions, no fanfare, no ta-da, just, okay. More of you, less of me. Are we good? Okay. That easy. The word persecute. Okay, so persecuted in verse 10 is right here. To make, to run or flee. To harass, to trouble. To be mistreated. That's what it's talking. It doesn't mean persecution as in martyrdom, okay?
Right.
Okay, it means you're being harassed. It means you're being troubled.
I think about
Cause
that guy
trouble.
in Colorado, that the Civil Rights Commission. I mean, he had what, a bake shop,
Yep.
and he wouldn't do a
Yep.
cake for a homosexual
Right.
wedding, and they've harassed him and harassed. It even went to Supreme Court.
Twice.
Yeah, I mean, he's been persecuted.
Yes. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Because he was pursuing righteousness.
Yes.
right,
Yes.
yeah.
To be mistreated
Mhm.
or suffer persecution on account of something. Yes. Okay? Salt. It's a substance used for seasoning. Well, we knew that, didn't we?
I love salt.
Me
Oh.
too.
And for preservation of meat. And you know, God said that there would be salt on every offering. Savoring. You know? So, we are to be salt. Think about that. Everything we do should be an offering. We should be salt. Salt is good for a lot of things. Salt is good to bring out flavor. Salt is good to season. Salt is good to preserve. Right? But if the salt loses its saltiness, it's good for none of that. Just throw it out. And once you lose your saltiness, it doesn't come back. Okay. How can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except for being thrown out for people to trample on. Ooh. Let's not do that, okay? Okay. You are the light for the world. Are you a good light? Or are you a dingy light?
LED.
LED. That gives me a migraine. You flicker. Oh my gosh! I could go down different colors of lights right now and just really get us down a rabbit trail. But that was good.
The wattage of your light is it's gonna be based on your walk with the Spirit, though.
Good point.
The Spirit is what gives you the voltage. Weak.
Who's in
weak-
control
weak-
of that?
Weak spirit, weak light.
Who's in control of that?
You are.
You are. You are completely, totally. Are you going to walk in your flesh, or are you going to walk by the Spirit? In every aspect of your life, not just not just sometimes. It's not an on. There's no on-off switch.
Right.
Okay, there should be no on-off switch.
So in this area is dim, and then in this area,
I was thinking
Ellie,
Okay.
dim, LED.
Okay. LED. Okay. So you guys are thinking lights and electricity.
No, yeah, because
Okay.
yeah.
That's good. You guys are thinking lights and electricity. Okay. How about candles? How do you dim that?
Oh, you blow it out.
Ooh.
Right. So
You light that baby, and you let it burn. Oh.
But it
No
does
dim.
flicker with the
With the
wind
wind.
in the room.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to cover it up with a bush.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You're not supposed to hide it under a bowl, a bush, right?
'Cause it'll go out for sure.
Mm.
Okay.
It needs oxygen.
It needs the Holy Spirit, the wind, the ruach. It needs ruach, wind, spirit. Okay? So, if you're saying and professing, but you're not on all the time, something's wrong.
Yeah, not all the time. That's good.
Just saying. All right. And the flame, just because the wax goes down on a candle or the oil goes down, you refill it with oil. See, they didn't even have the candles. It was an oil lamp.
Right.
So, as you said, you refill it. But again, that's your choice. Are you being refilled by the Holy Spirit? Or are you letting it flicker out? Now, I want to do this. So, yes, are we almost out of oil? Okay, I want to go. Okay, whatever.
Always comes back to
It does. It's self for spirit. Okay, there's God's way and there's everything else. There's God's way and there's everything else. There's God's way and there's everything else. You are you are the light for the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Isn't that amazing? You can't hide. The town on the hill cannot be hidden. You can see it from the valley. You can see it from another hill. You can't hide it. Oh. Likewise, when people light a lamp, the oil lamp, they don't cover it with a bowl, but they put it on a lampstand. So that what? So that it shines into
Everyone in the house.
everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before people so that they may see the good things that you do and praise your heavenly Father. Oh, did you see I did that?
You just lost it.
Oh, it didn't. I can't tell you what I did. I can't tell you what I did. No, shut up.
Okay.
Let another praise you at the gate.
Let another one praise you in the gate. Let your works be seen. Just do what you're supposed to do. Act justly. Do. I'm telling you, by your actions, what comes out of your mouth, I can tell you whether you're right or wrong. Ugliness, what comes out of you, what you do, tells me exactly where you are. Okay, so that it shines for everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before people so that they may see the good things you do and praise your heavenly Father. They don't hear it, they see it. They observe. Children learn by catching what you do. They're going to watch you, they observe you, and then they mimic you. Grandchildren, children, okay? Don't think, verse 17, don't think that I have come to abolish the Torah. Oh, I love this verse. Or the prophets. I have not come to abolish, but to complete. Abolish. Let's do abolish. Shall we look up abolish? Because, it was nailed to the law was nailed to the cross, right? Nope.
Abolished.
The law was not nailed to the cross. The penalty was nailed to the cross. So what does it mean? It means to dissolve or disunite. He's saying, I did not come to dissolve the law. I did not come to destroy or demolish the law. I did not come to overthrow the law. Do you see how I'm just reading the definitions? I did not come to render vain the law. I did not come to bring it to naught, to subvert it or to overthrow it. His words. Wow. Okay, moving on. But to complete. Oh, well, that means it's finished. Does it? I don't think so. To cause it to, oh my goodness, what? Abound? To cause it to what? Abound? So that nothing shall be wanting. I came to bring it to full measure. I came to render it perfect. I came so that you could bring it to realization. Because man added to it. Man added all these things, and he said, no. Here. This. Down here it says to fulfill, but it says to cause God's will as made known in the law to be obeyed as it should be. That's what fulfill means. Oh, he fulfilled it all. It's done away with. Yeah, he caused God's will to be made known in the law to be obeyed as it should be. For salvation? Right? Salvation? No, not for salvation. My salvation's free. My salvation is a complete, total gift of unadulterated grace from God. It's out of his chesed, his mercy, his grace, his long-suffering, his kindness. But I obey because I abide and I love. Okay. Wow. All right. Moving on. Verse 18. Yes, indeed, I tell you that until heaven and earth pass away. What? Has heaven passed away?
Nope.
Are you sure?
100%.
Has the earth passed away?
Nope.
Are you sure?
100%.
Yeah, I guess I'm still, yep, I'm still under my feet. Okay. So until heaven and earth pass away, not so much as a yud or a stroke will pass from the Torah. Do you know what it says in the Greek? It says the word iota.
Oh, yeah.
It says iota. Look at that. Iota. Not one iota. How many? I grew up hearing not one. I don't give an iota, meaning a little tiny. It's a yud. It's an infinitesimal. I mean, it's tiny. The ninth letter of the Greek alphabet, or the yud in Hebrew. The tiniest little, quote unquote, most insignificant, but yet the yud is part of God's name. So even the most tiniest insignificant thing is God ordained. Wow. Not one iota. Not until everything that must happen has happened. Okay. So whoever disobeys, let's go there. So whoever disobeys the least of these mitzvot, teachings, commands, precepts, and teaches others to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. I'm going to stop right there. The word disobey there is actually this word right here. To loose. To loosen, to undo, to dissolve, to unbound it is in other words. To annul it, to subvert it, to do away with it, to deprive, to declare unlawful. How do you declare the law unlawful?
Ask our president.
To dissolve. So whoever dissolves the law, whoever overthrows it, to declares it, to do away with it, to deprive it of its authority. Oh, that's not at all what we were taught, was it? No. Okay, moving on. The least of these, and teaches others to do so, will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever obeys, Oh, let's go to that. Well, we're this far. Let's keep going. Whoever obeys. act. Whoa. What? To act rightly. Is that part of Micah? Act justly? To carry out, to execute, to do a thing. To celebrate and keep. Do you celebrate the law? Do you keep the law? Do you act rightly according to the law? Do you carry out the law? Wow. Well, we're here. It's Shabbat. Shabbat's not the all in all, though. There's more to it, right? Am I doing this for salvation? No. No, please, no. And if people say, oh, well, no, you're right. We're not under the law for salvation. But he says if I love him, I'll obey him, right? And how many laws are there? 613. Oh, just in case you wondered. 613. He came to make it, to fulfill it, to bring it to its correct place so that it could abound and flourish and be right. Wow. What was that word? Let's go back there. What was it? To make full, so that it would not be wanting, to render it perfect, to bring it to realization, to cause God's will is made known in the law, to be obeyed as it should. Verse 20. Oh, wait. Yes, but whoever obeys them and so teaches will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. You know what? When you're in heaven, I don't really think you're going to care. We seek greatness down here. There, it ain't going to matter. It's not going to matter. I'm just going to be happy that I can be prostrate at his feet. Okay, for I tell you, verse 20, that unless your righteousness is far greater than that of the Torah teachers and the Prushim, the Pharisees, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoa, what? I tell you that unless your righteousness, in a broad sense, a state of him who is as he ought to be, righteous, the condition acceptable to whom? God.
But our righteousness is filthy rags.
Our righteousness.
Only Christ's righteousness. And
Right.
God sees us through that.
Exactly.
So
We must live a righteous life. We must live in a condition acceptable to God. But our righteousness doesn't save us. Our righteousness will bring us rewards. Our righteousness will draw men to him. But our righteousness will not save us. His righteousness is the only thing, because ours is filthy. Our rags are filthy. Only he can clean. You got to go back to the law and to the sacrifices. Okay, they need to be washed. They need to be cleaned. Only he can do that. Okay, he makes our righteousness righteous. We do. Otherwise, he wouldn't tell us to act justly. He wouldn't tell us, blessed are the right. He's telling us to be these things. So we must be these things. And we're accountable for those things. But those don't save us. Okay, that's the difference. That's the difference. And taking all the scriptures that we learned one way and applying them correctly in line. We are to walk righteous lives. We are to walk a righteous path. But that's not what saves me. I do that because I love him. I do that because I'm obeying, because it says the condition acceptable to God. How's that? Come my way. These are my laws. Observe them. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. All right. And then it comes out of the Hebrew word, and I want to show you the Hebrew word, which means righteousness in justice. So when we decide things, we need to do it justly. Righteousness in speech. So if your mouth goes off, you're wrong. Oops. If your mouth is provoking, you're wrong. Ooh. Oops. Righteousness as in ethically right. You know what cracks me up is we go to the grocery store and we buy things and we look at the label and we have such trust and faith that what they're telling us is on there is true. And yet we don't show God that same trust and faith. Are you sure? Man on a label or God who created? Just saying. Righteousness as in vindicated. Oh, vengeance is,
Mine, saith the Lord.
yeah, not Sherry's, not Alfred's, not Linda's, right? Not Daniel's, not Amy's, not whomever, Janet's, right? Yeah, okay. Justification. Do I have to justify myself? No, you'd be better off just keeping your little mouth shut. Oh, and let me rephrase that. You'd be better off keeping your big trap shut. Bite your tongue and swallow the blood. You'll be far better off. Okay. 20. All right. Remember, if you're not walking in the righteousness, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. You know, many are going to say to me, Lord, Lord. Okay, you knew it and you would talk it, but did you walk it? Did you live it? Did kindness ooze out of your mouth, or did curses come out of your mouth? Were you uplifting and were you giving, or were you selfish and self-centered, wanting your own way and your own rights? Oh, okay. You will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that our fathers were told, do not murder. I'm going to end on this, I think. Do not murder. That means like kill somebody, right? Oh, but if you think it in your heart.
There's different ways of
If you
killing people.
what did he say? If you think it in your, oh, and anyone who commits murder will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anybody who nurses anger, where does anger come from? Anger against his brother will be subject to judgment. Where does anger come from? Oh, unforgiveness.
Yeah.
Perceived offense. Not necessarily a true offense.
Yeah.
More times than not, unforgiveness is coming from a perceived
misperception.
offense. Or, and no, and, always and, me. I was, well, there's your problem. I saw, that's your problem. I felt, that's really your problem. I believe, I don't care. I. Where does anger come from? I. There's a righteous anger. Don't get me wrong. There's a righteous anger. Okay. There are things that, yeah, be angry and sin not. But when this is what's coming out of you, then you have murder in your heart. And I tell you that anyone who nurses anger, oh, anger, let's go there. Anger, to provoke. Oh, did you cause it? Did you start the fight? To be provoked to anger, to be angry, to be wroth. If you're angry, that's your sin problem, not mine. That's your sin problem. If you're angry, that's yours. I can't make you angry. You make you angry. Your idea, your thought, your reaction, you. I can't make you angry. Only you can make you angry. Wow. To be hot, furious, burn, become angry, to be kindled, to be angry, to be incensed, to be vexed, to be jealous. Oh, jealous. Why? Because I didn't get what I wanted. I want it like this, and this is not happening, and so I'm upset. Can you go back to Cain with jealousy? Yes. Can you go back to Joseph's brothers with jealousy? Yes. Can you go back to the man who didn't forgive the one? Greed. Yes, because jealous, I want. There you go, right there. Okay? All right, moving on. So anyone, I tell you, who nurses anger against his brother or sister, okay, will be subject to judgment. What? Subject to judgment. Please hear me. Subject to judgment. Because it's contrary to God's character. He's the one who forgave you millions. So it is completely contrary to his character. That whoever calls his brother, you good for nothing. Oh, I love this part. You good for nothing. Let's see what good for nothing is. Empty, senseless. What? Empty, senseless. You ignorant fool. Oh, did I say that out loud? Whoever calls his brother, you good for nothing, modern day language, you ignorant fool, will be brought before the Sanhedrin. That's the council. And they still, even the believers still went, okay, they still went before the Sanhedrin because it's the ruling council of Israel. All right. So I've got this one right here. Let me take you to the Hebrew. This is the Greek, okay, senseless, empty-headed. If I take you to the Hebrew, it's empty or vain, worthless, idle, okay? Figuratively, it's a worth, you count it as having no value, okay? All right. Now let's go to fool. Fool, impious, godless, foolish, dull, or stupid. Oh. Morally, you're a blockhead. That's what it says. Absurd, foolish. Okay, that's language. What other words would we say? You ignoramus. You moron. Moron?
Retarded.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Moron. Look,
That's what I was
morose.
thinking.
Do you know what? Moron comes from this Greek word. This is the root word for moron. So, don't call somebody a moron. You incur the penalty of burning in the fire of hell. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Dull or stupid. Be careful of the motivation of the heart and what you're doing. And is this something that you see?
I'm not saying it against that person, but I'm saying it against what they're
Saying.
saying,
For
what they're
Right.
repeating.
Right.
They're just,
That's stupid. But see, that's stupid, not you're stupid.
yeah,
Okay, there's a difference.
yeah, there is, but most people don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
If you say that's stupid, you're hearing I'm saying you're stupid.
Yeah, because they're not listening. They're not paying attention. I tick people off all the time because they don't listen.
they don't get her.
Oh, so wait a minute. So I didn't do it. I can't. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Your offense is your offense, not mine. Your anger is yours, not mine. I didn't cause it. Maybe you need to pay attention. Maybe you need to get right. Maybe you need to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. Maybe you need to get real. Maybe you need to worship in spirit and in truth.
Maybe you need to let it go.
Yeah. Well, how about get right? How about lay
I can
prostrate
think
on the
of people
floor?
who think of an offense
Yeah.
that really isn't there, but they will not let it go.
Right. Oh, and please don't take it up for somebody else.
Get over it.
And don't take up an offense for somebody else.
Uh-uh.
It's not yours. Move on. A passerby who meddles in the affairs of others is a
Fool. I tell my dogs not to be
fool.
foolish all the
a moron. That's what, a passerby who meddles in the affairs of others is a moron. Just saying. Just saying.
Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you. Okay, now that's the Greek. Let's go to the Hebrew. You know I love the Hebrew. You senseless fool. That's what the Hebrew says. You senseless fool. Or you treat people with contempt. Or you treat them or regard them as worthless. Oh. Has anybody ever... I have people that treat me as though I'm dim-witted and worthless. Not my problem. Not my problem. That's when I go, we good. Okay. Just like that. Okay? Live it. He didn't say be easy. Roses are covered in thorns. You're gonna get pricked.
It's taken years and years and years and lots of hurt.
Getting lots of self out of the way.
Yeah.
Got to get yourself out of the way.
Yeah.
You got to get me, myself, and I out of the way. Me, myself, and I is going to lead you to hell.
For sure.
Because there's a lot of people who are going to say, but Lord, I don't know you. Why? Because you're too full of me, myself, and I. Oh. Okay. For whoever says fool, moron, incurs the penalty of burning fire of hell. That's real. Okay? That's not me. I'm not saying, this is what he is saying. So if you are offering your gift, at the temple altar, and remember there that your brother has something against you, leave your gift where it is by the altar and go make peace with your brother. Why? Because it's not gonna do you any good. You can give everything you own. You can give it all away. You can be nice to Joe Schmo over here and this one over here, but if you've offended this one over here and you've done it and you haven't made it right, leave your gift where it is by the altar and go make peace with your brother. Then come back and offer your gift. Okay. So someone comes at me. Okay. If I did it, I'm going to own it. You're right. I'm really sorry. Man, that knocks the wind right out of them. Okay? And it leaves room for now, okay, we can talk. We can have a civil conversation. They might be coming at you full steam, anger, heat, whatever. Don't let that's not your problem. Don't respond. Don't engage. Don't engage. Respond correct. If you did it, own it. If you didn't do it, okay, hop over. Okay. I think we're going to come back to this one. I know it was a lot. I know we're over. But really, the whole sermon, I mean, it's three chapters, and it's powerful.
5th, 6th, and 7th.
But this portion had to go with the because it's all forgiveness. So here's what I have. The root of forgiveness is chesed. The root of forgiveness. All right, are you kids listening? The root of forgiveness is love. Chesed, long-suffering, mercy, kindness, his attributes. And if you don't have, and you're not walking every day in every situation with people, and the worst offenders are your family, I'm sorry to say. Why are we so hard on our family or those closest to us, and yet we'll forgive a perfect stranger? That doesn't make sense. God knows the worst things about me and says, I know you screwed up. Don't run away. Run to me. Okay? Okay. Oh boy, it's going to take me a while to edit this one, isn't it? I'm going to have to listen and re-listen and listen and re-listen and listen and re-listen. May Hashem, Adonai, the eternal existing one, adore you. Okay, guys, I need you to be quiet for a minute, okay? All right. May he guard you and watch over you. May he protect you and save you. May he celebrate you and treasure you in spite of yourself. I threw that one in. May he cause the light of his presence to shine within you. May his presence be illuminated within you. May he forgive your offenses and impart unmerited adoration, favor, mercy, chesed, and consideration upon you. May Adonai's presence within you, it can be on you, but let it be within you, be set and directed toward you continuously, supporting you, sustaining you, pardoning you. May he give and ordain and establish, determine and fix complete soundness, safety, quiet, tranquility, contentment, and friendship. To which I say, Batak, Chazak, Amatz. Be bold, be loud and strong, be courageous. In order to be meek, in order to be humble, in order to be forgiving, you must be courageous. Because it's scary. And in spite of it, you do it. V'yirechaka Adonai v'yishmereka Yair Adonai panav elecha v'hunecha Yisai Adonai panav elecha v'yeshlem ha